Have you ever seen the power of human compassion in action? In the icy heart of the Himalayas, an unlikely hero emerges, defying danger to save a vulnerable snow leopard cub. See how this extraordinary tale unfolds. What happens when an old man risks his own life to care for a snow leopard cub in the treacherous Himalayas? This story reveals the unexpected bond between humanity and nature, defying the odds in the face of adversity. Prepare to be touched by a heartwarming story of resilience and compassion. Witness the unbreakable bond formed between an elderly man and a helpless snow leopard cub, battling the elements and forging an unforgettable connection. The Himalayas, majestic, silent, and brutal. The towering peaks pierce the sky, wrapped in snow and silence. The wind whistles with a haunting grace, and the land beneath is unforgiving. Yet, hidden among these frozen giants are creatures perfectly crafted by nature to survive here. One of them, the elusive snow leopard. Known as the ghost of the mountains, this big cat is rarely seen, a master of camouflage and solitude. But even the strongest predators begin their lives fragile. Far up in a secluded crevice, high above where humans dare to go, a snow leopard cub cries out into the cold wind. Its fur is matted with blood and dirt, one leg bent unnaturally, alone, injured, and motherless. The cub's cries echo through the mountains like a whisper of desperation, one that fate carries to someone unexpected. Tenzing Dorje, a 72-year-old man, had spent his entire life in a small stone cottage nestled on a Himalayan slope. A retired porter and herder, he knew the mountain like he knew the lines on his own palms. For him, the peaks were not just terrain, they were sacred. On that morning, he had set out with a basket to gather firewood and herbs. As he trudged carefully along a narrow ridge, he heard a faint cry. At first, he thought it was the wind, but then it came again. Following the sound, Tenzing found a trail of blood in the snow leading to a bush tucked against a rocky cliffside. Beneath it, shivering and whimpering, was the cub. For a long moment, the old man just stared. He had seen snow leopards before, always from a distance. They were sacred, rare, and dangerous. But this was different. This one was just a baby. With slow, cautious movements, Tenzing wrapped the cub in his woolen shawl. The cub didn't resist. Its energy was spent. Its eyes, wide and glassy, locked onto the old man's weathered face. A silent exchange. Fear, trust, pain, hope. Tenzing brought the cub to his humble home, lighting a fire and laying it gently on a worn rug near the warmth. He made a poultice of wild herbs for its leg, cleaned its wounds with melted snow, and spoke to it softly in Tibetan, as if calming a restless child. For the first 2 days, the cub barely moved. Tenzing offered it goat's milk with a spoon and bits of minced meat. Slowly, it began to respond. He named her Dawa, meaning moon in his language, for her pale, spotted coat and the mysterious calm she brought into his life. As weeks passed, a quiet rhythm settled between the two. Dawa would follow Tenzing with a limp, nuzzling his leg, watching him cook or mend tools. At night, she slept curled beside the fire while he hummed ancient lullabies. In her, he saw the spirit of the mountains. In him, she found warmth in a world that had turned cold too soon. Their bond was unspoken, but unmistakable. When she was frightened by the thunder, she would hide behind him. When he coughed in his sleep, she would nudge him gently awake. The wild creature and the old man, both forgotten by the world, had found each other in the loneliest corner of the earth. The months rolled by. Dawa grew stronger, her leg healed, though it would always carry a slight limp. Her instincts sharpened. She began stalking shadows, pouncing on leaves, and climbing the nearby rocks. Tenzing watched with pride and quiet sorrow. He knew her spirit belonged to the wind, not the warmth of a cabin. He began taking her farther from home during their walks, letting her climb higher, roam freer. He started leaving food farther from the house, making her seek it out. Each step she took away from him, his heart tightened, but he smiled through the ache. Then one morning he opened the door and called her name. No answer. He waited all day. At sunset, he walked through the trails they used to share. Her tracks were there, but she wasn't. That night he sat alone by the fire. Her spot by the rug was empty. The silence was louder than any storm, but he knew. This was her time. The weeks turned into months. Dawa never returned, but Tenzing would sometimes spot fresh tracks near his cabin, just footprints in the snow. He would smile quietly and leave a bit of meat outside the door, and every now and then it would be gone by morning. One spring day, a wildlife team came to the village to monitor the endangered snow leopard population. They invited Tenzing to help guide them. During the trek, they found a young adult snow leopard, healthy and alert, watching from a ledge. She didn't run. She just stood there, eyes calm. Tenzing didn't say a word, but in his heart, he knew. Dawa had returned to the wild, strong, alive. He had given her a second chance, and she had taken it. His actions did more than save a single cub. They reminded everyone that compassion knows no species, that nature and humans can coexist, that even in the harshest places, love can take root and thrive. In the silence of the Himalayas, one old man and one wounded cub defied the odds. Their story is not just one of survival, but of connection, a reminder that every life, no matter how small or wild, is worth saving. Tenzing Dorje never sought recognition, but in his quiet kindness, he taught the world something powerful, that sometimes the bravest hearts beat not in warriors or kings, but in the chest of an old man with a gentle touch and the will to save a life that wasn't his own. Let this story stay with you. Let it move you. Because somewhere out there, another Dawa may be waiting for a hand, and another Tenzing ready to offer it. Will you be that hand? Dear friend, thank you for taking the time to follow this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support us.